Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. Lots of things to discuss. We're going to get into the Real Housewife reunion of Beverly Hills. So many hot topics. I'm just going to get right into it. This came out on Thursday. Alex Murdaugh. Okay, we've talked about Alex Murdaugh. This is the crazy family with all the crime. The mother and the son were found shot about now, maybe 2 months ago. This was who they kind of refer to this family as, like, this guy, Alex Murdaugh, being the boss hog. If you remember the Dukes of Hazzards, where he just, this family had so much power in the legal field, both publicly as prosecutors and in private practice. Just to fill you guys in, wife and son were found killed. Son was facing charges and legal lawsuits about a crime in which he got drunk and was driving a boat and crashed it, and people were hurt, and one beautiful girl was killed. Then his 30-year-old son and 52-year-old wife were found shot on their property. Alex then was told the world that he was changing a tire and someone shot him, in which he survived. It then got revealed that he, in fact, hired a man to shoot him so that his remaining living son would be able to receive his life insurance, but he had lived. So he was arrested for that crime, for fraud and, the crimes that go along with setting up that hit on himself. Now Alex Murdaugh has been arrested and accused of stealing the $4.3 million of his late housekeeper's insurance settlement. This was also a really strange element to this family. So they had this housekeeper that worked for them for like 20 years, and she was in her early 50s, and she died after a fall. She fell, she was in the hospital, and then she died. And it was on his property, and they assumed that she tripped over some dogs and fell. And it was very sad, and they had a funeral, and he immediately took responsibility, like, it happened on my property, so my life insurance, my property insurance will pay out a death, winning, or whatever you would call it, a death insurance payment. So this is what basically happened. I'm going to explain it the best as I can. He either pushed her down the stairs or caused her to fall, is what now I believe to have happened. He then went to her, like, teenage boys or young, maybe they were early 20s, at the funeral and said, look, go ahead and sue me so that my homeowner's insurance will pay out a death benefit for your mother, in which you will receive it. Here is the attorney, gives him a name. Here's the attorney that will represent you so that you guys get what is rightfully yours. This is so sad, everything. The sons did that. They're young. They don't know how to do it. Okay. They go and do that. And in the end, there is a settlement for this horrible death that happened on his property, but the boys never got it. Okay, and this is where all this legal stuff of how this family, and especially Alex, had his hand not only in the public world of being prosecutors, they call them solicitors there for generations of lawyers, but also he had the private practice that would represent companies, would represent people. Like if you slipped and fell at a Wendy's, you would go to then Alex Murdaugh's company, and then they would sue the Wendy's, and then you would get a huge payment. And people also felt that the judge that then would reward that huge payment to the victim that slipped at a Wendy's, this is all hypothetical, that it got to the point where people didn't even want to were in cahoots with Alex. So the people didn't even want to have businesses in this town, because they're like, my God, if something happens on our business, Alex Murdaugh's company is going to represent the victim, and then he knows the judge who's then going to award this enormous amount. And that is why this town had such wealthy people at the top, and actually it was not a wealthy town in general. So it is just layers and layers of corruption. But this element with the housekeeper goes, really deep, and so much deception. Not only do I think he had a hand, I think right now they're just saying that he took the money, and they're not accusing him of murdering this woman. But I am saying, based on how everything has lined up, I think he may have had a hand in her demise. And I would really hopefully hope that they're trying to look into that, because it just seems a little too convenient that this housekeeper dies and then he sets up a way that insurance money will go to her kids, but yet the kids never got it because he recommended the attorney to represent them. There's been a lot of stories and articles and interviews and everything about the Murdaughs, but that is what I have surmised from everything I've listened to. And I'm really happy that there's going to be some justice for these kids of the housekeeper. Just absolutely horrible. Okay, let's get into the Real Housewife of Beverly Hills reunion. It is 4 parts. I'm going to talk about the first part. Let's just first talk about, first of all, I think the set is hideous, okay? And Kathy Hilton comes out, and Andy is like, do you recognize the set? Because she joined the cast a little bit later. And she's like, no, I don't. What is this? And he's like, it's your house. It's your backyard. I think it just looked tacky, and no, she didn't recognize it, or maybe that was a little snide remark. I don't know. But I didn't love the set and everyone's outfit. Normally they have a theme, Potomac all wore yellow, or sometimes they all wear something in the metallic. I guess Beverly Hills is just killing it so much on the ratings. They were just like, wear whatever you want. We're not even going to tell you. Just do what you want. I think everybody did not make great choices for themselves. Let me just go down the outfits. Erika is wearing a light satin pink color. I don't think that's her color. I think she looks better in like blues, where her blue eyes pop. This was not a flattering. It looked like an ice skating outfit. It looked like she was going to a homecoming in 1985. Her hair was good, but her makeup was awful. And the rumor is that she has like her assistant doing it. Clearly she doesn't have Joyce, who used to work for the Kardashians, now has her own line and her own fame. We saw Joyce doing her makeup on several episodes of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Yeah, she was not there, okay? So I don't know who did this makeup, but it was like she looked pale. Her eye makeup, her eyebrows were not looking good, and then she had like just these long eyelashes, but they weren't filled in. It was not good makeup. And then Lisa Rinna is wearing this like purple thing with purple tights and a snake skin, and it's not my favorite look, but she's all into wigs now. Can I just say I miss Lisa Rinna's old hair? I'm sick of these hairs and these hairdos and these ponytails and calling them names. What should we call her? Priscilla. I like that. Priscilla. Just, that can't be your only storyline, Lisa Rinna, that you have a line of wigs and some old outfits from the late 90s that your daughters are going to try on in your garage while Harry fucking Hamlin makes some sauce. Not good enough, okay? And I'm going to get to why I think she's shaking in her purple snakeskin tights in a minute. Then we have Dorit, who's smart enough to wear one of her dresses from her lines. I thought she looked the best. It was a white dress. Her spray tan was the appropriate color. She had her hair up in like a cute top hairdo looking thing, but not too insane. And makeup looked good. I liked the high collar. It looked good. It was like pearls and beaded. Crystal looked pretty, but it was a very boring, just burgundy dress. Kyle, I think, is so attractive. She's since got her nose done, possibly a mini facelift. I don't know. I think her plastic surgery looks great. She has the most gorgeous hair of anyone. Now it's probably filled in with some extra clip-ons and stuff, but still great, shiny, dark hair. Somehow she was talked into putting it in like a million different little skinny hairs. It looked like in the late 90s, I used to buy these little butterfly clips. And I liked it because it would make my hair fuller in the back. And it was a big thing. You'd kind of wear your hair down, but you do little tiny, and then they'd be embellished with diamonds. And I'd buy them all around, and I looked pretty cute. And that's what I would do in like 1998, around then. Little butterfly clips. Their hair everywhere. Too much of these clips in her head. Then she just wore, it's a mini dress. And she's a petite thing, but I don't think her legs are her best feature. And I don't think her boobs are fine. Then she had like a keyhole and it was pushed in there. Just one, I think the worst look I've seen on Kyle. I think she's so pretty. And I wish she would have just looked like her. She did one confessional look where the hair was shiny and long. And she wore like a white satin classy blazer with just the right amount of cleavage and some bright, perfect real diamonds and bright white teeth. That's the way she should have looked. I don't know why people don't call me. Every time I talk to a housewife, I try to help them in choosing the best dress. I did it with Elizabeth Vargas from Real Houses of OC, rest in peace. And I told her what to get, and it was, instead she wore lace burgundy up to here. It wasn't good. Okay, Garcelle looked good. Hers was metallic, and her legs looked nice. And then Sutton wore strapless blue. The color was good. Her body looked nice in it. Her legs looked nice. The earrings were weird. The earrings were like Native American, like too long and casual, like something you'd wear to like Coachella or something. It made no sense with the dress. So I don't know who talked her into that. So there we go with looks. Okay, now the show starts out and we go right to Erika Jayne. And Andy's very good. And he goes right for the questions. And she has this speech planned that she worked on with her attorneys. Thank God she finally listened to him. But I feel like she may have messed up some of the words. I don't think she can memorize lines that well. Maybe that's why that's the only reason she got that one part in Law and Order before she became a waitress and met Mr. Girardi at Chasen's. But she basically says, yes, I do care about the alleged victims. I do. And if what Tom allegedly did was correct, then I allegedly think it's awful. My thoughts are allegedly that I do care about the victims, and that's it, Annie. What do you want me to say? Did you sleep well last night? I slept like an alleged baby. That's how I slept. And it was peaceful. Should I not have slept like an alleged baby or not? It was very weird. And, but she's there to talk. Now, a lot of people were doing side-by-side photos of her from 6 years ago and today and how different she looks. And I talked about ageism before. There's a lot of things going on here. 6 years is 6 years, you guys. It's 44 to 50. Those are hard years. Do you remember how Obama's look changed between 44 and 50? He's still cute, okay? But boy, did he look young when he took office until 8 years later. These are what I call the hard years. Chris Frangiola, we've talked about it. They're hard years. Let me tell you, 21 to 29, girls and guys, you're not going to look that different. You really aren't. That's 8 years. 30 to 38, you are going to look a little different. Those are some years. You'll change a lot. 45 to 53, you are going to look different unless you get a full-blown Kathy Hilton type facelift or Margaret Joseph type facelift. She looks amazing. You have to go full on under the knife facelift. The fillers and all the little things that you did during your 30s and early 40s that worked, and every day you'd wake up and be like, I can't believe I fucking still look this good. I can't believe this. All of a sudden it like turns on you. And if you especially don't have the money that you used to, which she does not for all and the neck and all that stuff, I'm just being completely frank about what works and what doesn't. So no, she's had a really shitty year. She doesn't have Joyce, the makeup artist, and she doesn't have the ability to make her. However, I do think she may have gotten a mini facelift because on the side of her ear, she had that ear thing going. So I think she may have already had it, like maybe 5 years ago, but now it's falling down a little. I don't know. Look, This is the shit we talk about, okay? So Lisa Rinna's up her asshole as she has been all season. Some people wonder, why do you think, Heather, Lisa Rinna's been up Erika Jayne's asshole all season? Because Lisa Rinna believes that Erika is not going fucking anywhere. And she was smart enough to know that. And Annie brings it up and he says, what about all the fans saying that you should be fired? Why should I be fired? I have not been arrested of any crime, Andy. Why should I be fired? I've done my job. I've done more than my job. I've shown up, that's for sure. I've showed up and I've been interesting, unlike some people. What? And so listen, these shows are like sinking ships, and you jump on the ship that's not sinking. The ship that's not sinking is actually Erika Jayne. She is the reason why people are still into the Housewives. Listen, New York didn't even have a reunion. Beverly Hills, 4-parters. Okay, so yeah, we're watching because of Erika Jayne. I'm talking because of Erika Jayne. So with that, I think she's like, look, I've got nothing going. I'm going to be totally honest with you, Heather, if she was here right now. Once Amelia Gray, thank God, broke up with Scott Disick, what else do I have to talk about or bitch about? Nothing. So I'm fun. I like to dance. I think I bring it. I wear different wigs. Harry shows up in 1 to 2 scenes a season. And apparently that's not enough. So I'm going to cling on like a fucking barnacle onto Erika Jayne's asshole, and I'm going to suck it hard until I can get 1 or 2 more seasons out of this fucking shit show. And I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm going to fucking own it. So that's there. So now we get into Garcelle and Rinna, who have been friends for 20 years. They've worked on shows together. They've talked on the phone over the years. They've met for lunch over the years. Garcelle joins the Housewives 2 years ago. Everyone can agree she's a great addition, myself included. Really enjoy looking at her beautiful face. I like her family life. I like her just, all she has to do is look and you know what she's thinking. But the gripe that Dorit and Rinna had about Garcelle is they felt when they're at the dinners with her and stuff, she doesn't really say anything snarky. Now, I did a tweet. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Did I post my tweet here? I don't think we added my tweet here. Anyway, I did a tweet last night. And I used the word dig, okay? And I got so attacked by Twitter people that I had to remove it. Basically, my tweet last night was, after the show aired, I watched Watch What Happens Live. And Garcelle was on there, and there was a poll, who had the best look? And Dorit won. I would have voted for Dorit too. I actually think Garcelle probably had the second best dress, but I really liked Dorit's dress. And why wouldn't you wear your own designs, okay? And Garcelle quickly says, and then he's like, oh, Dorit won. And she's like, Dorit, pearls were falling all over her dress, pearls were falling all off her dress, something like that. And then just got right into the next thing. Just dropped that little. Now, in my vernacular, I use the word dig. That's a little dig. Because you're basically letting the world know that the dress that she designs and sells, when she was wearing it, some loose pearls were coming off. I think anybody that gets a beaded gown like that, I've worn beaded things like that. It's why you get a little sack of extra sequins and beads. They come off. Some are gonna come off. It's just what you do. So you wear it for a couple great occasions, and then, you either repair them or you send it off on its way, because it is so. But I thought, all right, that is kind of what Dorit was being critical of Garcelle through the season. That she said she called them little jabs. I call them little digs. Other people would say, no, that's like the Potomac girls call reasonably shady. Other people, like a Bethany, might call it a snarky. All the words mean the same. I wrote a tweet and I said, hey, did anybody catch Garcelle saying about the dress about Dorit? I think that's a dig. Did I think some pearls fell off? Yes. Do I still like the dress? Yes. Carry on. Something like that. And I was like, good, Heather, because I don't tweet as much as I should be tweeting as of someone in my position. Well, now I know why. Oh my God. I started to get attacked by people because they interpreted it as me coming after Garcelle, and you cannot come after Garcelle. And a couple people, this one woman said she was going to pull up my taxes. I don't know how she could pull up my taxes and come after me, and I better watch out. You know what I did? I fucking deleted the tweet. That's right. I peed a little. I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to sleep tonight. I'm so scared about this shit. And I'm like, yeah, oh my God, I can't imagine being on these shows. I really cannot. The stress of it, I cannot. So getting back to that, they get into it, Dorit and Garcelle, about the behavior. And immediately Dorit says, I want to apologize for calling you a bully in one of the scenes. At one point, Dorit speaks up at a luncheon, and it was Lisa Rinna's lip kit party. And she says, I'm just going to say it, Garcelle. I just feel you do these little jabs, and it's like a bully. It's like a bully. And everyone went, ah! And a lot of the comments online, and even mentioned on Watch What Happens Live after, was, how dare you use that word bully to a woman of color? And Dorit recognized that and made sure that she got that apology in right away. I used the wrong word. I sometimes choose the wrong word. Of course, I didn't mean that. And she was like, yeah, you better apologize for that. And I don't think at all, I don't think her behavior was a bully, okay? But all I want to say is, if someone was to do the work on the how many reunions there's been on and how many seasons and how many franchises, the amount of times that I've heard cast members call each other a bully is too many to count. They've used it for the last 15 years. You're a bully. You're bullying me. You're bullying me. Bullying, 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 bullying. Now, because predominantly up until a couple of years ago, the casts that were white were predominantly white, and the casts that were not white were casts of color. So when it was going back and forth, it was predominantly within the race. So now we have people of different races calling each other these names that now take on a different meaning in 2021. My point is, first of all, nobody on these housewives are bullies, okay? In my opinion, a bully is on a schoolyard beating someone up, being awful. I know it has transcended to workplaces and this and that, and it's kind of, I almost feel like there needs to be a new word or a new social experiment of how a quote unquote bullying situation happens, where people pile on and kind of target one person. And like I said, that can happen in a family, it can happen in a business, it can happen in a social setting, it can happen as adults, it can happen as kids, it can happen on housewives. But now we know, thanks to this, there is no more calling anybody ever a bully, especially if they are not the same ethnicity as you. So that was one thing that got exposed. Along the lines of this, the other thing Garcelle says is, she says, well, Lisa Rinna, I did have a problem with you because I heard that you said you didn't like that I brought race into the show. And Rinna just fucking froze. And she was like, you know what, Garcelle? Who said it? I don't know. I'm not going to say who said it, but someone said it. Who said it? You know, it's not true. I didn't say it. And the fact that you would even bring that up shows me who you are. And this is where I was like, whew, this is so juicy. Because what is happening is a lot of people, and you might be one of them listening, talked about, I don't like the way New York went and a couple of the other shows went this past year and a half, talking about race and politics so much. In my interview with Garcelle, I defended that because I was like, listen, you guys, you want it about real life. I was on several dinners in the last year and a half with my girlfriends, and we constantly talked about what was going on politically and with race in this country. So the fact that it happened while they're having conversations around the election, which is when this was filmed, is just the truth. So it came out, and it's not necessarily, it was not Garcelle bringing it into it at all, or Crystal. It was literally conversations that were happening no matter who was in your living room. People were talking about it. So I so I think we've said it, but by Garcelle pointing it out and saying it on the air about Lisa, I thought it was an unfair statement unless she had literally receipts. Like she had a text from someone saying that Lisa was like, I know this show fucking sucks. I wish Garcelle wouldn't bring up race. If she had something like that, I would say, bring it up, Garcelle. But just someone saying it, whether it was true or not, was it possibly said? Was it maybe said in conversation? But by bringing it up in this climate of 2021 with the Bravo world and how opinionated they are, I think Lisa was like, fuck, I know I'm on the chopping block because A, I make a lot of money. B, I've been on the show really long. C, people have said I don't have an interesting enough storyline. D, people are still mad at me about how I treated Denise. And then, so she got pissed. And then she's like, I just don't get you, Garcelle. Even Harry fucking Hamlin was saying, we were watching you, and he goes, Garcelle doesn't seem happy. You don't seem happy. What's upsetting you, Garcelle? And then Garcelle's like, what? I'm happy. I think Garcelle is happy. She's never been more popular. She's never worked more. She's got a talk show, a reality show, a book coming out, gorgeous as ever. Yeah, I think she's happy. But I hate that when people do that. I feel it's very deflecting. I feel it's even like maybe a little bit gaslighting. I'd be like, you don't seem happy. Kind of like, oh, you look tired. What? I'm not tired. Really? Don't seem yourself. Why are you not happy? It was like when she said to Denise, oof, you're so angry. I think it's very manipulative move. So I really saw both sides on this. I saw that Lisa was freaking out, that in any way Garcelle could point the audience to thinking that at any time Lisa Rinna was racially insensitive in this time. And Lisa Rinna then flipped it like, why are you so unhappy? Which is also like a dig. Like, what are you sourpuss walking around? Like, it's just, anyway. So what does she do? She goes, can we move forward? Because now she knows. First of all, if there's one person not going to be fired, it's Garcelle. Everyone loves Garcelle, and I don't want her fired either. So Garcelle is solid, okay? And then she's like, so she jumps off the ship that had Erika Jayne on it and literally swims over to the other side in her purple dress and jumps on Garcelle and hugs her and squeezes her and throws her legs. I mean, there's no way that Garcelle can't. And also, there is a history and there is a friendship and there is an underlying relationship and love there. That, of course, housewives destroy, which is what they always do when someone brings on a friend. So she hugs her and she's like, yes, we can move on. So then Garcelle's like, thank God I can text Harry fucking Hamlin at the break and say, Mama's bringing home another check for another year. Make that sauce. So that's what's going on with that, I think. So, okay, now let's see what else we have here. Sutton broke up with her boyfriend. Oh, and, Erika still hates Sutton. So she goes, but you know what? I'm dating people. And Erika goes, you're dating? Who's dating you? She said something really rude like that. And I feel like Sutton didn't even hear it. But she's like, well, what happened? Well, we went on a real nice Valentine's Day weekend and he broke up with me. Well, maybe it wasn't that nice of a Valentine's Day weekend because he broke up with me. But yeah, I was heartbroken. He just said, I can't. And when someone says, I just can't, there's really not much more you can say to that. So then Kyle, who really didn't have a storyline this season. I mean, she really didn't. It's not her fault. I also think that's me when people are like, you didn't have a storyline. Oh, I'm sorry that I didn't get indicted or get divorced or struggled with an illness. Or my significant other didn't. I'm sorry, that's not a good enough storyline for you. I mean, I thought we're just supposed to enjoy their lives and their personalities. I liked Kyle's story. I appreciated that she was struggling with her daughter, who now had become sort of antisocial with all the lockdown in Los Angeles. I thought that was like a really real moment when she cried about worrying about Portia. So I still enjoy Kyle, but Kyle had these photos of the fact that she let Sutton rent her house for a year while she remodeled, and then she did a fire, and the fire had burned up in it. Obviously, Sutton will pay for whatever damage there is. That was kind of a cute moment, but that was all that we saw of Kyle for the part one. I'm sure it'll get juicier with Erika because right now they're not talking, and right now when this was filmed, and we do know now that they went right after this. It was so juicy after the reunion. They said, "Girls, you're not even going to have a break for the holidays. We are going to go film with you right now." And they're filming right now, which so I don't think I'm pretty sure no one's leaving. And then of course there's a rumor that this pretty girl who was on The Neighbors, an Australian show, she's married to a billionaire, she's Dorit's friend. Supposedly she's joining, or probably just a friend. They'll probably just weasel her in and see if she fits in. Maybe at the end she's holding a diamond, maybe she's not. So there we are with pretty much, I think I covered everything. With them. Supposedly Tom Girardi was seen talking to a mystery woman outside of his assisted living place. The woman just like looks normal. I'm sure she like works there or something. There's no connection in this photo that looks like they're like romantic or whatever. But do you imagine like you're just like working at the assisted living place, and then like your friend is like, "Hey, are you fucking Tom Girardi, who's a patient in the memory care center of your assisted living?" No, I was talking to him. Like, I don't deserve this shit. It's going to get real juicy, though. Erika is going to tell stories about, what was really going on in her marriage, and Andy really goes for it, and she says there were, like, several mistresses, so that sounds very juicy. So then the Daily Mail came up with this. Erika Jayne's $600,000 Real Housewives Beverly Hills salary will be much higher if she signs on for season 12 as producers scramble to start filming ahead. That's what I was just saying about how they're filming. So I'm sure if I was her, I would negotiate for as much as I can. Because she did say that too. She goes, yes, Annie. My only salary is, in fact, this is my only job. This is it. My only job. And that is sad. Everyone's like, sounds pretty good. It's a full-time job. You're on TV. You still get to post for money. Though I don't know if she's getting that many like paid ads right now. They all went to Kyle's Halloween premiere, and they wore Halloween costumes. And Lisa Rinna was a bunny. Which, when you're sexy your whole life, can I just say for Halloween, kind of fun just to put on like a comfy onesie. If you're not young and everyone's seen your ass a billion times and you don't feel like you're going to miss out being in like thigh-high boots and a corset and a cape, like that was cute. Speaking of thigh-high corsets and a cape, Kyle wore like a ringleader outfit, just a classic trashy lingerie, like suck you in, look pretty good. I like those type of outfits. Kathy was very funny. Kathy Hilton, she dressed as a dentist named Hunky Dory, clever. Paris Dorit killed it. She dressed as Paris, which is cute because it's her friend's daughter. And she really got her makeup done right. She did not use Erika Jayne's makeup artist. I think she got a real glam squad to come over. Really did the makeup like Paris circa like 2004 maybe, and had the, crown on her head, a little parrot, she'd always wear like tiaras, had a flip phone. I like that. I have a couple Halloween parties, and I don't know when I'm going to be. And I like when people pick like an iconic person from an iconic time or a famous photo or famous era versus doing the corsets and the capes. I have two parties. I might do a corset, cape, thigh-high slut outfit one last time, and then the iconic thing for the other party. I'm thinking about it. And then Teddy, in which she was cut off on a lot of these photos that were picked up. This is Kyle's Instagram. So Kyle included Teddy, but all the other ones I saw just cut Teddy out. And Teddy just did some old costume, like a gladiator corset thigh-high thing that she had in her closet. But she looked good. Oh, this was also Sutton. I was on Sutton's Instagram, and was doing a duet karaoke in her new house with this cute guy. I don't know if he's assistant or what. It's not like a dating interest thing because she's too young to be, but he's cute. And they started to sing, and she sounded pretty good. They were doing a duet. It was a little bit slow. You might want to cut it down a little when you post things on your Instagram, but whatever. But Paul PK wrote, "My advice to you is if you wish to pursue a career in the music business, don't," and then a crying emoji face. But she laughed at it too. But she actually sounded pretty good. I mean, compared to other housewives that have albums, like with her Southern twang, she sounded pretty cute when she sang. Kylie, her makeup line with her collab with, what is it? Nightmare on Elm Street came out. And it was a pretty amazing marketing campaign. One of the things that looks like an old VHS tape, and then you open it, and it has like the shadows, the lipsticks, all this stuff I just think is for rich girls to just collect shit. Because like I've said before, how many eyeshadow palettes do you need in your life? They last for like a year. In fact, I have one of hers, some like Vacation Take Me Away, that I still use. But you know what? But you know what it is about shadows? You get like one of these things, there's like 12 colors, and you only use 2. You use 2 every day, a lighter and a darker, and then like they're gone. And then you're like, but I don't want to throw away this whole palette. And then you just have a million palettes. Okay, Lizzo. There's a lot of talk about what Lizzo wore to Cardi B's birthday. And a lot of the headlines were very positive. Basically, what she's wearing is a purple sheer sparkly dress to the ground. It really looks like a cover-up, like if you wore like a netted cover-up to your bathing suit. Except she didn't wear any bra at all. So just full titties out. And then I think she wore a G-string. Now, so people said it must have been Cardi B's party, but Lizzo stole the show in this sheer fishnet number. That was one. Pop Sugar said Lizzo's sheer dress sparkled from all angles. It might have been Cardi B's party, but Lizzo stole the show. Then she took a photo of her like every girl does before they go out, herself, you know, in this outfit. So a lot of people didn't like it. And a lot of people were like, well, if you don't like it, then you're not body positive. And like, why is it okay that other people can wear sheer dresses and she can't? I don't like when anyone wears a sheer dress. I don't care if you're a size 0 or a size 22. I think you got to leave something up to the imagination. So Jack-Luc Picard on his Twitter, he said, look, who put this together? He put a little pic collage together. And it was a bunch of other big stars wearing full nips, just an underwear and a sheer dress. And like I said, I think it's all too thirsty, no matter what size you are. I don't like it. And I wish this trend would stop. And I saw a guy wearing it too. Yeah, even Kendall Jenner, full nips out, doesn't give a shit. And they're like, how thirsty is she? Well, thirsty. Give some people some water. All right, you guys, sad news in the 90-Day Fiance world. This is really, so this couple, I remember them. I don't remember their names, but Michael, his name was Michael. And I think, Michael and Julia. She was really pretty. He was like 48. Do you remember this story? I'm going to tell you. So he met this girl on a yacht. He had some money. And she was like a yacht model or just hanging out with people. And then supposedly they just locked eyes and fell in love. She was really beautiful. And he had 2 kids that were like, I don't know, 12 and 10. And a wife named Sarah that he was divorcing amicably. She came and got to be on 90 Day Fiance. And she and Sarah really got along well. So well that Sarah married them. And they were on the show and she was really beautiful. And she was only 23 and he was 48. Anyway, he announced that today is only our 2nd wedding anniversary and sadly our last. So he says they're breaking up and he's sad about it. Well, then she went on her Instagram and posted like, well, you pretty much made my life hell and you're not what I thought it was going to be. I lost myself in this marriage. The only way I could do this is to leave. And it wasn't like this sad thing that fell apart. Basically, she hinted that it was like because of him, that it wasn't the way she thought it was going to be. Oh, really? You didn't think? What did you think? You know, you married this guy because you wanted to get out of the country. You wanted to have a few bucks and you got to be on TV. The classic 90 Day Fiance thing. And then when you go out there and you're in the middle of nowhere and the wedding is over and they've stopped filming you, and then you just realize that you have to take care of these 2 kids and do what he wants to do all the time, and he's not even that nice to you or into you, you're like, wait a minute, stop. I'm actually not that rich, and I'm still really gorgeous, and I'm not really in love with this person anymore, and the fame is not what I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to be like in movies or doing something cooler. If I'm not going to be, then I don't want to keep taking care of these kids, act like I still like this ex-wife, and hang out with this dork. I want to go back and up my game and meet somebody else on a yacht or get my own thing going and just be by myself. So they're broken up. Daniel Craig explained why he prefers to go to gay bars. This is the title of the Page 6 article. I remember many years ago, now, I looked for this photo and I couldn't find it, which makes me think, do I have a repressed memory? Or because I've told you that I kind of like seeing 2 gay guys make out, that maybe I visualized this paparazzi photo. But I remember seeing a paparazzi photo of Daniel Craig, 007, making out with another good-looking guy in like a parking lot or like the back of a bar in Venice Beach. Okay, that's what I remembered. So when I saw this article, there were always rumors about this. So now he explains. I'm going to read some of the article to you. Okay. Listen, he says, I've been going to gay bars for as long as I can remember. And one of the reasons is because I don't get into fights in gay bars that often. Craig, who is married to actress Rachel Weisz, told Bruce Bozzi on Lunch with Bruce. The No Time to Die star said that as a youngster, he would find himself getting into several fights when hitting other types of pubs. The aggressive dick swinging in hetero bars, I just got very sick of as a kid because it was like, I just don't want to end up being in a punch-up. And I did, and it would happen quite a lot, he admitted. So basically he's saying, like, I would fight every time I went to a bar. So I finally said, God, how do I get a cold beer without either giving someone a black eye or giving myself a black eye? I guess I can only go to gay bars. Isn't that sad that you can't go to any other bar but a gay bar because straight men are so out to just punch the shit out of each other? Like, are people still like getting in physical fights at bars? I feel like they aren't, because in 2021 it's like go to jail, lawsuit, but maybe they are. Okay. Craig added that for this reason, he found gay bars a good place to go. He added, everybody was chill. You didn't really sort of have to state your sexuality. Okay. But, there might be some outfits that tell someone what kind of sexuality you have. I don't know. I mean, I've been to gay bars and I think I know who's gay, but whatever. Craig also addressed the time that he was caught at a gay bar in Venice, California with his pal Bozzi, 55, in 2010. The irony is, we kind of got caught. Okay, so his friend is the host. So he said that's why. I suppose, which was kind of weird because we were doing nothing fucking wrong, he said, adding, what happened is we were having a nice night. And I kind of was talking to you about my life and when my life was changing, and we got drunk. And I was like, ooh, yeah, let's go to a bar. Come on, let's go out. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. We're in Venice. Well, not Venice, Italy, Venice, California, but okay. And so then so that's it. So they went to the bar, and I don't know if that's the time or if it was another time that I remembered that photo, or if I in fact created it in my own sick head memory. I really don't know. But he has a daughter in 2018. Brought a daughter into the world with Rachel, and then he also has a 29-year-old daughter. I don't really care if he's gay or not. I don't know if he is. I don't really care. I just thought that was kind of funny. His movie's coming out, 007, and at this point, it probably would up his cred if he was like, yeah, I mess around. I think it was smart. Whether he likes gay bars because he gets more attention there and because he is a little bit gay, or he likes gay bars because he doesn't get in fights, or he doesn't really even like them at all, but he just really wanted a beer, and people have caught him in it, and this is a story he's doing because it makes him seem more open and great. I think this was a good article. I think it only makes him more likable, but I just thought it was funny. Okay, also, this was interesting. Owen Wilson's ex claims that he has never met their 3-year-old daughter. This is sad. So she posted a really pretty photo of her daughter, who's Owen's child. At 3, they were on and off for years, for 6 years. She had the child. He financially fulfills his obligation with child support or whatnot. So it's not like he's not paying, what he's supposed to be paying, but she has made it clear that he does not see the child. And I wonder if whatever their financial obligation is, if it's like set within the courts or is probably set privately. And now I wonder if this might piss him off and affect how much he gives her. Like, he might just be overly generous to her now. He's like, fuck you. I hope not. I hope he has a relationship with his daughter. He has 2 other children from 2 other women. So he's 3 children with 3 different women. I don't think he's ever been married. And but he does see those boys. So it's kind of sad that she's a girl and he doesn't see her. So that's kind of weird and sad, but I kind of love that she called him out on it. Okay, so this was kind of got some controversy going on Vanderpump Rules. Tom Schwartz made this comment on his Instagram. Let me see if maybe I don't have the comments here, but basically it was a cute picture of Lala. Huh?
Caption's at the bottom.
Oh, it is at the bottom? Oh, okay. So the caption was, he writes, "Bub, where's yours?" So because the photo was Lala holding Stassi's baby, Stassi holding Lala's baby, and so the 3 of them are in it along with Katie in the middle, and she does not have a child, and has not gotten pregnant to our knowledge. And he wrote that as a comment, and people were like, is he really that clueless? And apparently he is. And so insensitive. We know that she's been trying to have a baby. We see it in the previews. We know that it's happening, that they're trying to get pregnant. They've been together longer than all these other couples. They are in fact married. So, I guess that's the charm of Tom Schwartz, is that he's so clueless, except when it happens here. So anyway, okay. Tyga, this is sad. Tyga was arrested on felony domestic violence charges. So he's had this beautiful girlfriend who's a social influencer. She's just, I looked at her photos. They're basically, it's so interesting. Like, whoever started these photos of how, these certain kind of poses where it's just like just your ass or just like a giant foot leaning down. It's like these weird poses that everybody does. But anyway, she's totally pretty. She has a perfect body. She's blonde, and they've been dating for a while. And according to her story is that she has texts that, the first story that came out was that he had, I think he turned himself in and then was arrested. But that the first story was that he said that she came over unannounced, drunk, and a fight ensued, and then she left and then claimed that she had had a black eye, or her eye is all marked up in the photos from Tyga. And that then she went to the police and said Tyga did this to her, and then now he has had to be arrested and formally charged. She then went out on her social media and said, that is not what happened. I have texts of him saying, come over, I'm sending a car for you. I was not drunk. I came over there and we started to fight about our breakup. And this is what happened. I was absolutely shocked that this happened. She has texts where she's like, I can't believe this is the way we're ending this. And she has a photo of her eye and around her eye being very injured. So, I guess his defense will be that she got drunk and walked into a wall, and hers will be that he did it. So, it's just interesting knowing that he dated, China, Black China. He has a baby with Black China. And then he also dated Kylie for such a long time. So it's really sad. So I really hope that this girl is okay, and whatever happens to him. That's meant to, that they fully investigate what happened. This was also a very weird crime. This California mom was accused of throwing secret alcohol-filled parties for teens and watching them have sex. Shannon O'Connor, formerly of Los Gatos, has been charged with 39 criminal counts, including felony child abuse, sexual assault, and providing alcohol to minors for hosting the parties. So first, when I read this article, I was like, how does she even know these kids? But I guess one of the kids is her 14-year-old son. She would then encourage these kids to come to her house, provide alcohol. There's some of these accounts are so terrible where there'd be like an intoxicated girl asleep on a bed or passed out on a bed, not asleep, passed out on a bed. And then she would, encourage a boy to go and have sex with her, giving out condoms, encouraging sexual assault. So gross and so weird, just absolutely shocking. Did we ever get to that one story with Chris about the other teacher?
No.
Oh, I don't think we ever did. There was this other story that came out where a teacher who was pregnant, she's pregnant now, and I'm not really sure if she's pregnant with her student who she was molesting. It was another, young teacher who was getting with her 14-year-old student who was male. But she, was seeing him, and, he's now saying, no, it's consensual. Please don't get the teacher in trouble. But she's currently pregnant. But I don't know if she's pregnant with her husband's child or her student's child. But it's just absolutely baffling that, that women it's gross that any teacher or adult would do this, but it's definitely more baffling when it's a woman. Okay, Netflix says that employees can disagree openly as trans staffer plan a walkout over Chappelle's special. So staffers at the streaming giant plan to stage a walkout on October 20th to protest Ted Sarandos, that's the president, support of the comedian's special. So they're saying if you choose to do that as an employee, of course, Netflix will support your stance against. We will support you not supporting us is basically what they're saying. We will support you not supporting us, and I think that's good. I mean, whatever. I don't know. Like I said, I said it the other day, I just don't know what people are to do. It's like you should be really upset. And now if you work for the company, you should show that you're upset, whether you're trans or not, because they said no employee can disagree. Oh, so any employee can disagree with it. You don't have to be trans. You can be an ally. And if you're upset that they put this on the network that you work for, then you should stand up for yourself, and you will not, you're not going to get fired for it. So do it and let your voice be heard. But, it's interesting. Will in fact anybody really, how far will other people go? It's one thing not to ever watch it or never pay for a ticket for Dave Chappelle, but will you take it a step further and cancel your Netflix subscription? Because I just don't see that happening. This show, Buried, is very interesting. And I was talking to Kate Casey about it, my friend who has a podcast, Reality Life with Kate Casey. It is on Showtime. It's a 4-part documentary. I have just read about it and talked to her about it. But it's very interesting. It's basically about repressed memory. And in the late 80s, there was a lot of talk shows and stories coming out. And this was one of them about how this girl, a woman, she was raising her daughter, and her daughter at one moment looked up at her, and it brought back this repressed memory of when her dear little friend, they were both 8, was kidnapped and killed and found 70 days later. And her daughter's face looked so much like her friend at that age that all of a sudden this horrible memory came back of the day that her friend went missing, and she saw it happen, and it was her own father. And all of a sudden she remembered it all, and she had such a vivid and detailed memory of it, and they believed her and arrested the father and put him on trial because there were things about this case of the little girl that they had never revealed to the press or to the media or anything. So the only way that she would have that knowledge is if in fact she witnessed it. So her testimony was very believable to the jury, and that's what it is about. Can this in fact happen? That it was such a traumatic experience where she saw her father pick up the two little girls and then take her friend and rape her and kill her, that she blocked it out of her mind all these years because it was so traumatic. And then seeing that her own daughter, looked so much like her, shocked the memory back into her head. And this happened a lot. And I remember watching all these talk shows, because I would watch all these talk shows that talked about Oprah and other things. And it was always these people being like, I had a repressed memory that my dad molested me, or this awful thing happened to me. And it was like a big thing that was going on in psychology and everything. Can this in fact be true? And and to a point where I was like, God, am I going to wake up with some weird memory? And I think it's just a very interesting thing, because sometimes people have really sick dreams and perverted dreams, and you wake up and you're like, how the fuck did I dream this weird, gross thing? Is it a repressed memory? Is it something that I actually desire? Probably not. It's my opinion that it's not. It's probably that you saw something or read something or did something earlier the day before that was like touched your head, but you didn't think about it enough. So it like pops in the back of your head, and then it can come out in a weird dream. And I mean, I believe this girl, but then in the series, which I suggest that you watch, then there's something more comes out where they believe that maybe she didn't, in fact, like, she starts to remember these other crimes that she witnessed that there was no proof to. So in the end, the guy, we'll just watch it. I will say this, though, that I always remember this being a story that happened during the time. I was a huge Roseanne fan and, followed her comedy, watched her show. And the story I remember was Tom Arnold, her husband, he had a drug and alcohol problem, and he went to rehab. And one night when he was in rehab, he had a breakthrough of a repressed memory of where he realized that he was consecutively molested by I believe a teenage babysitter. And he called Roseanne and he told her the story, and he was crying about it. And she went to bed that night, and the next morning she woke up. And this is just what I'm remembering from the story, but I think it's pretty accurate. She woke up the next morning and was like, oh my God, I just remembered that my mom molested me when I was 6 months old. And she went out, and she, at that time, really enjoyed sharing her stories and publicity, and told the story of how she was molested and these cruel jokes that her mom would play on her as well as being molested, and came out with all the stories. And I remember reading her sister's book. And in the sister's book, she was like, this was the most heartbreaking moment, because my brother and I totally disagree with her recollection. We don't believe this is true. And I believe that many, many, many years later, Roseanne then retracted that. And so my point is, by hearing Tom Arnold tell her his story, which I'm saying his story could be true or not, but it's his story, that somehow then she went to bed, and then that triggered something, and then in her mind she believed. So it's just a very interesting thing about how repressed memory works, and how people believe it can be true or not, or what it stems from. And I've always been fascinated with it. So the show is buried on Showtime, and I know a lot of you guys are talking about it. So you guys, wow, I am, as you're listening to this, I'm getting ready to go on an exciting cruise. So don't worry, Patreon, you'll still get your Patreon, you'll still get your Thursday show. I really appreciate you guys telling everyone about Juicy Scoop. It's doing great. And the next show to come to is, I only have one show available in New York, which is November 5th, second show at 9:30 with Chris Frangiola. I do, and then I'm off to Boston City Winery. There are tickets available for both the late shows on that Friday and Saturday, which I believe is the, God, what is it? 12th and 13th? 12th and 13th in Boston. And then I will be in Atlanta with Julie Goldman. And then 2 shows that night, the 19th of November. And then 2 shows, only one available show now, that's tickets still available, on November 20th in Nashville with Chris Frangiola. And then I don't have any dates for a while. So these are the last times to see Heather McDonald in action. You go to heathermcdonald.net, get your tickets there, join Patreon, and spread the word of Juicy Scoop. Have a wonderful day.